What's up, you guys? How y'all doing? Finally, I decided to do my recap of UH men's basketball against UC Irvine. And as you can tell, I kind of delayed it because I was still trying to think of what to say and trying to come up with a good analogy. And I think I might have figured it out. But first of all, guys, remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to. That's good enough for me. I'm going to put up my banner here. Unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and say right now as it comes up, there isn't much to talk about here. UH basketball loses fourth straight to Irvine. Making the Big West tourney will be a win for UH. I'm going to get into that in a little bit, but as you can see by this graphic here, that's right. Final score, 66-49, which was kind of a sad game all around. But there were some good takeaways, I will say that. I'm going to get into that right now. But first, guys, subscribe. Let's get into this.
All right.
Okay, UC Irvine. This is a team that UH has been kind of hot and cold against, but unfortunately they've been cold as of late. Last season, they lost both games, but held them to 60 points in the home matchup, but unfortunately lost by 25 on the road. This season, unfortunately, not really much different. They will lose on the road after cutting their gap down to 4, but then back-to-back threes by Irvine put them back up double digits. That was all she wrote. This time, Irvine got out front, getting the first 6 points while UH had 3 turnovers on their first 3 possessions. And UH showed some fight. They tied the score up, but unfortunately, that was the closest to the lead they got. Now, I will say, though, there were some good takeaways because UH didn't necessarily let them get away. Yes, they built their lead to as many as 18 or 19, but 19 was pretty much in the closing stages. Fortunately, UH was able to stay close by, and they were not plagued by an extremely long scoring drought. And what I consider to be long is when it gets up to 6 minutes or more. Because if UH goes through those droughts, more likely they're going to lose. And that was what happened last season against Santa Barbara when they fell victim to a 26-0 run. Unfortunately for Irvine, the problem was UH shot overall really, really bad. They were 29% from the field. They only made 16 shots in that game overall, 2 of them from three-point range. They were 0 for 5 in the first half, and the guys who hit the threes, the first one, Tanner Christensen, and the second one was from Aaron Hunkin-Claytor. Tanner Christensen led UH with 11 points, which may not sound like a lot, but believe me, the scoring was pretty balanced, which was a good thing. But Christensen had only 11, but he was followed by 3 guys with 10 apiece. Aaron Hunkin-Claytor, Ryan Rapp, and Gytis Nemeikša. And Gytis' 10 points, his final 2 came in the final 5 seconds. So if this were a math exam right now, UH should probably be given a C+, which is the same grade I'd give them. I mean, their fight was there, but it seemed like they just didn't have a lot of luck when it came to up-close shots. Because in the second half, UH only made 7 shots, but as many as 3 of them were misses from up close. And how many games are you going to win when you miss those up-close shots? You'll be lucky to hit 3 games that are won, let alone 2. Take my word on that, because that's what happened. Early on in the second half, they had like 3 shots that they missed from up close. And while UH was able to make some pushes, they were able to cut their gap down to 11 or 10, but that was the closest they got in the second half. But what happened in the closing stages should have been a golden opportunity for the Bows, because what turned into a scrum on the court, now unfortunately I erased this because UH kept trying, their effort was there, but when it came down to was there was a scrum on the court and players on top of each other. Irvine's Miles Che had the ball. Unfortunately, Che got ejected because he gave an uppercut punch to Ryan Rapp's cheek. And I saw that on the broadcast. I was like, oh, yeah, that's clearly an ejection. But at the time, I had no idea from my vantage point. And if I were sitting at the media desk, I would probably have a front row seat of it. But what happened was, like I said, Che had that uppercut punch, that right hand punch to Ryan Rapp's head. And what happened was Rapp was issued a Class A technical foul, which at the time did not make sense. And then it was later announced that Miles Che was issued a flagrant 2 foul and an ejection from the game. Now, Che had 8 points and 2 triples in that loss, or I should say in that win. But still, that should have been a golden opportunity for the Bows, but unfortunately they were just too far back. Now, 10 or 11 points, on paper it may not sound like a lot, but believe me, when you saw how bad the ball behaved with the Rainbow Warriors, that was a huge mountain to climb, and they just couldn't do it. That's why I'm saying that there wasn't much to talk about in this game in terms of the win. But I was encouraged that they were able to stay close, and they were not plagued by a long scoring drought. The way I see it, conference play is like math exams, and non-conference and practice is like math homework. It's like math, like I said, practice and non-conference play is like math homework. You got some notes to figure out where you got to use this formula to solve this problem. And I look at conference play as those exams, which hence why I said that if this were a math exam, UH should get a C+, which is the same grade I'm giving them for this game. They tried, make no mistake, but the problem is, it seems to me like this team is talented, but they're having a hard time using it efficiently and consistently.
And they won, but he can't pass half court. Pretty much everybody in the team can do that.
There you go! The consistently part is pretty much what some guys have used, and my dad included, to describe the Bows. Inconsistent. That's kind of been the theme all around. They'll look good one game and then be like, what did we just see the second time around? Okay? But still, as far as this tournament goes, if UH just makes a tournament, I'll be thrilled. Because at this point, when UH early on, they won 3 in a row after dropping the first 2, and CSUN was up next, I thought for sure that they were going to win that one at least by a couple of points. But instead, UH fell victim to a big run by CSUN and again to UC San Diego. And then again to Cal Poly at their place. What seems to be the problem? As I said earlier, in my view, this team is talented, but they're having a hard time using it efficiently and consistently. Hence why a lot of people are saying inconsistent, describing this team as inconsistent. Now, overall, the way I see it, if UH can come out with some kind of fire, they have to come out with something or some kind of inspiration, like against Long Beach State, where this guy, Ron Yee, who was a longtime supporter for 5 decades of UH athletics, especially basketball, and he passed away due to a bout with cancer, unfortunately, which scares the hell out of me for sure. But it seems to me like that's the kind of news that UH really needs to really get inspired. But unfortunately, Cody Williams was out with injury. So that kind of lacked their depth. But still, the unfortunate part is, even if Cody Williams were out there, I don't think the outcome would have been any different. And I'm not trying to put this team down. I'm just calling it like it is. But still, this team is talented. And if they use it efficiently, they can go on to do great things. But the problem is, when they're scouting, when their opponents are scouting, they know exactly what UH's Achilles heel is. The pressure defense. Now, did I see them have a problem with that? Not really, which is a good thing. But still, UH has really got to find some kind of inspiration or just some kind of reason to get really pissed off to a point where there's a million places where they'd rather be. See what I'm getting at here? But still, it was an overall decent performance. This season has not been a total loss at all, but still, UH is really going to have to hit the recruitment trips and really look high and low for some good guys to replace the guys that are leaving, like Ryan Rapp, Marcus Green, and Tanner Christensen. Gytis Nemeikša is the only question mark because of a waiver that was passed late in the calendar year in 2024 that would have allowed other players, including Gytis Nemeikša, to have an additional senior season. Is he going to take it? I don't know. I hope he does, and I do hope he stays here because Gytis' talent, he will be a huge holdover for next season. And if we can find some good players and legitimate point guards, we're going to be a team to talk about. Otherwise, we're going to go in the Mountain West in 26, completely behind the 8 ball. So only time will tell. So anyway, guys, that's all for today. And remember, subscribe, and I'll see you all for UC San Diego. I'm not sure if I'll do a recap there. I probably will, but I don't know if I'll listen to the game because this season's been way beyond disappointing. But still, thanks, guys. Subscribe. Still, go Bows. Keep trying. I'm still behind you. I'm never going to give up. And I hope you can get a win against UC San Diego on Saturday. Well, I'm a opponent, folks.